Welcome to another episode of the FWOT Show on the Coil Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Rob Steele, and let's just jump right into it with what is quite possibly my favorite thing that has been said all year. And it comes from a place that, well, frankly, I'm not expecting to find spectacular quotes. It came from the Pope, you know, the head of the Catholic Church, that guy, older guy, funny hat. Yeah, him. He said that it is better to be an atheist than a bad Christian. I think that's kind of cool. It also comes alongside a quote that says, quote, I believe that the church not only should apologize to the person who is gay whom it has offended, but has to apologize to the poor, to the exploited women, to the children exploited for labor. It has to ask forgiveness for having blessed many weapons. I like this Pope. Bringing people together. Isn't that a great idea? Bringing people together. Much better than separating them. So much better than all the crap we've been hearing in the past couple weeks about how this whole anti-Semitism movement has started up again. Now, one of the cities that was hit hard with this anti-Semitism wave was Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, where their governor, Rick Santorum, you remember him? Look him up. It'll be interesting, if nothing else. He blamed Muslims for this rise in anti-Semitism. And by the attack that I mentioned a minute ago, I mean the graveyard that is of primarily Jewish, I guess, occupants is how you would phrase it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tombstones were destroyed. Who was the first group of people to respond and start rebuilding? That would be a Muslim community. So what? What are you saying here, Rick? They destroyed the whole cemetery so they could rebuild it? Yeah, I'm not buying it. I mean, the whole Republican regime, and I'm calling it a regime now, their whole thing is still having... We've still got backlash from the immigration ban. Seriously. Do you know who immigration caught this week? I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. Some of the people who are being banned from entering this country include a woman by the name of Mem Fox. Do you know why she was detained? Well, me neither. And neither does she. She's actually a fairly popular author of children's books in Australia. Kind of like J.K. Rowling, only in the Southern Hemisphere. Yes, must prevent her from coming in and spreading books to children. Can't have that. And it's not even people coming from other countries, those pesky immigrants. It's people who started out here. One of the biggest names that I've heard so far attached to this is Muhammad Ali Jr. Yeah, he was detained at an airport in Miami because he put Muslim on a form somewhere, and they said, "Oh, your name is Muhammad. We can't let you in the country." And he said, "You might have heard of my dad." And even now, he could probably kick your ass. So, no, the regime needs to go. You want more proof of this? Seriously? The Japanese press. This is probably my second favorite thing I've come across this week. The Japanese press are saying they're having trouble translating things that Donald Trump says into Japanese. Not because he's making up words like bigly, which is still not a word. The problem is, they say they can't translate it into Japanese without making themselves sound really stupid and like they're making things up. That has become an issue because they say the things that he says, direct translation, and the people in Japan have said there's no way someone can be that ignorant. Why are you interpreters making things up? And the interpreters are saying, no, he said bigly. That's an issue. They can't take us seriously if we sound like this. I mean, it's gotten to the point where even past administrations, not Obama, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm going to go back to GW. Remember W, the guy who, had a sitcom named after him and started a war with, I think I'll go with that country. No, that country, neither of which we actually had a problem with at the time. Yeah, GW. He popped up again this week and in an interview said, we need answers to what's going on with Donald Trump and Russia. Seriously, GW came back and said that. And he's supposed to be on the same team. You know what? He's not anymore. By the way, here's another reason to be worried, because, speaking of Trump and wars, Trump says he actually wants to increase our military budget by around $54 billion, with a B as in boy, do we not need this, $1 billion. Now, seriously, we already spend more on military than any of the next 12 nations on the planet combined. 459 billion, that's still with a B, billion more than the number 2 people on the list, and that's China. Oh, by the way, did I mention our infrastructure is a bit up at the moment? Let's see what we actually need to spend money on. Oh, could it be the people who live in the country? The ones who have all the issues that need to be fixed and addressed that, we were going in the right direction under the previous administration, that Barack Obama guy, the one who everyone liked. Yeah. So we don't need to feed Donald Trump and his ego trip, and we don't need to raise taxes. What we need to do is stop spending money on things we don't need to spend money on. Like our military is doing just fine. We don't need to go to war with anybody else. We also don't need to be spending money on things like, Ken Ham's Ark Encounter. Do you remember this guy, the one who built the life-size Ark the way Noah would have? With mechanical cranes and nail guns. Yeah, the way Noah would. Yeah, he had $102 million spent on his Christian-themed amusement park. Yeah, he's lost all of it. Okay, fine, not all of it. He'll be declaring bankruptcy by June. $102 million up in smoke, because apparently they don't know how to spend their money wisely. And building an ark when we don't need it, not a wise thing. Other things we don't need to spend money on. Apparently Donald Trump has been having a series of pro-Trump rallies. Have you heard about these? They're supposed to be where all the Republicans can get together and feel good about themselves. And I saw a video from one of these pro-Trump rallies in South Carolina this past week, which garnered what I'm told is the bigliest crowd ever. 22 people. How do I know how many showed up? Because I paused the videotape and I counted them. I can do that. Didn't take a whole lot either. 22. What we need in this country right now is more things like what's going on in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they just passed a bill that allows the Electoral College votes to go automatically to the winner of the popular vote. See, how much trouble could this have saved if we did this beforehand? No, we're doing it afterwards because we're a bit slow sometimes. We need more of that, though, and less of this stuff. Bill SB 1142, which just passed the Senate in Arizona, which is next to New Mexico for those of you who are geographically impaired. Basically what it says is, the First Amendment doesn't mean a damn thing anymore, and the government can seize the assets of anyone who plans or participates in protests that disturb the peace. Really? Because, why do we need a pesky First Amendment when we can seize assets like that? Yeah, that's not the best idea, is it? Of course, you could always make things up. We had more things made up this week, and wow, this one came from Bill O'Reilly. You know Bill O'Reilly. He's one of the biggest people on Fox so-called news. He had a guest on last week named Niles Bildt, who is, according to Bill O'Reilly, the Swedish Defense and National Security Advisor. Except they found out a few things out about him afterwards. Namely, that his name is really Nils Tolling. He has lived in the United States for quite a while now, including 1 year that he spent in prison for a violent offense. Now, does that mean he didn't actually come from Sweden? That he's not the Swedish Defense National Security Advisor? No, that's not what it means. When Sweden put up its hand and said, "Who the hell is this guy?" That's what's said. He is not the Swedish Defense and National Security Advisor. Earlier this week, Bill O'Reilly actually just did show up on his show and said, you know what, that guy we had on the show, I should have clarified. He's not really the Swedish Defense and National Security Advisor. We just kind of pretended he was. Now, according to the president, which one of these groups of people is supposed to be making up the whole media thing again? I'm pretty sure he hasn't put Fox News on the list, although, hello, they just did, and admitted it. Of course, this is also a channel that denies the existence of climate change. You know, despite all the evidence to the contrary, there's a big one that came out this week, a big story on this. I'd like to thank my friend Ken for pointing this out to me, because I would have missed it. Because I haven't been to Chicago in a long time. You know Chicago, the Windy City, up north, next to Canada. It's up there. Very cold. Except this year, 2017, January, February, 2 of what are supposed to be the coldest months of the year, Chicago has no snow on the ground. Chicago has had no snow on the ground. Chicago's not going to have snow on the ground in January or February because, well, it's the last day and they're expected to have nice weather up there right now. As I record, the current temperature in Chicago is 58 degrees. Yeah, it's not going to snow. And when was the last time they had no snow on the ground in January and February in Chicago? That would be never. This has never happened before. Ever. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever. So let's see. Global climate change? Let us ponder this a moment. Of course, Chicago, the setting for one of my favorite movies, The Blues Brothers, in which the cafe scene, where Elwood ordered dry white toast and John Belushi ordered 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke. You remember the scene? Yeah, it's my segue to a Chik-fil-a thing. Do you remember when Chik-fil-a came out of the closet? Kind of. Or at least their owner did, and said, I'm homophobic. No homosexuals will work here and none can come here and, whatever. We're going to deny our chicken to homosexuals. Yeah, you know what? First off, shut up. 2, Chick-fil-A started using a song in their commercial. Now, granted, it's a song I can't really stand anymore. It's a song called Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. You remember them? 1986? Yeah, I know, most of you weren't born. That's okay. It was a big song back then. Well, do you know what happened to let them get that song so they could use it in the commercial? Starship's lead singer, Grace Slick, said, yes, you can use it, and every bit of the proceeds you pay to us for the use of our song is going to go to LGBTQ rights organizations. Haha. I think that's kind of cool. I am not a fan of Starship still, but I like what they did there. Oh, and speaking of chicken, well, there was a school in Pennington, New Jersey that said, as their Black History Month special, we're going to have a new menu that includes fried chicken. And people, well, they had a cow over the fried chicken because, oh, you're stereotyping fried chicken. Only black people eat fried chicken. If only black people ate fried chicken, wouldn't Colonel Sanders be a non-white boy? I'm just saying. It's chicken. Everybody eats chicken. Over it you must get. I'm just saying. But this does remind me, because most of the protest came from the Republican regime, and this kind of reminds me of the whole Kellyanne Conway thing earlier this week. You can find the pictures of this just about anywhere, where President Trump, and I'm sorry, I throw up a little bit every time I say that, met with American black leaders, which you think would be a good thing, except in all of these pictures, in the foreground is a couch in the Oval Office. And on this couch, not sitting on the couch, kneeling on the couch, playing with her cell phone is Kellyanne Conway. Seriously, look this up. Is this the kind of people we want to have in charge of our country? She's playing with her cell phone when she's supposed to be meeting with leaders of the country. Is that absolutely necessary? But, this is, again, still the regime that put Jeff Sessions as the Attorney General. Earlier this week, he said that we need to stop legalizing marijuana because it increases violent crime everywhere. Except places where it is legal, where you see things like Denver, who had a 2.2% drop in violent crime rates in just the first year after legalization for recreational cannabis. Or the overall property crime, which dropped by 8.9% during the same period in Denver. Oh, D.C., where they also made marijuana legal for recreational purposes. Violent crime rates have dropped by 10% since they legalized it. But he wants to get the FBI involved because the state laws should be overridden by this national issue. So state laws mean nothing, according to our Attorney General, unless these are states that have their own laws when it deals with the bathroom issue, as in who can use them. Which I find this contradiction a little bit odd, because when I was in high school, where did all the potheads light up their cigarettes? That was the bathrooms. Now, Sessions says, states can pass whatever laws they choose, but I'm not sure we're going to be a better, healthier nation if we have marijuana being sold at every corner grocery store. First off, I have not seen a corner grocery store in decades. You can sell it at Walmart. It's going to be at Walmart. It's not going to be at CVS. They pulled all their cigarettes. But there are benefits to selling this stuff. Crime rate goes down. It's going to seriously handicap everything that gangs do because a lot of their money comes from selling illegal drugs. And the crime rate is going to go down. So all this stuff that could actually help the country, no, can't have that. Which seems to be what's going on with the current Republican regime. While we're at it, why is Standing Rock News not being covered anymore? I mean, they started building, and I found out that there are claims that the protesters were backed into a floodland, but then the police could move in and remove them for their safety. But I'm thinking, if you were interested in their safety, why are you building this pipeline? It's already broke in 2 places, causing catastrophes that all the Dawn dishwashing detergent in the world is not going to fix. And I think that might be a problem. Do you agree or disagree with anything I've said on the show? Go ahead and send me an email, rob@thefwotshow.com, or go to the website, thefwotshow.com, and find the links for Twitter and Facebook. Click them, contact me, let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or the Google Play Store, or frankly, wherever you happen to find podcasts, because this one is everywhere. And it's also part of the Coil Entertainment Network. And we've got a lot of other really cool shows on here, like 2 Pages of Mystery, comes out every Wednesday, and new audiobook and ebook on the website every week. How cool is that? Also, don't forget to check out Cinema Savants, which is usually live on Sunday nights at 6 o'clock. There are links. Check out the website, coilentertainmentnetwork.com. That's COYL, because it's cool that way. If you want to know what it means, check out the site. In the meantime, thank you for listening to The FWOT Show. I've been Rob Steele, and I will see you next time, provided you're careful out there, because, seriously, it's getting worse.